Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show. It's Tuesday. I'm Peter Martin. Thank you very much for your company. Alan Rough and Hugh MacDonald of the Daily Mail are here with me today to discuss these topics. We were all waiting on that decision. Would the compliance officer suddenly hit out with a notice of complaint to Alfredo Morelos and Kirk Broadfoot? In the end, no, Hugh.
No, and I'm quite pleased that some kind of line's been drawn under this and we move on. You know, I think there's a really great danger at the moment where the compliance officer's getting too much to be looked at and to be assessed and to be done. I think in the summer as well, I think one of the big things for the SFA will look yet again at their disciplinary protocols and come to something a bit better, fit for purpose.
Yeah, are you suggesting it should be a definitive on what she's going to rule on?
What she can rule on and what she can't rule on.
Could she rule on Goldson and Finley's situation?
I think, well, all depends what the agreement comes up for. One way would rule it out, because if you couldn't rule on, for example, something that's already been seen by the referee.
Yeah.
And I think that's a justifiable way forward. She couldn't revisit Goldson or Finlay. Yeah. But I think, you know, things need to be a bit more cut and dried now as to what, because the other thing about it as well, Peter, I think is justifiable complaints from some clubs saying it's our games that are getting re-refereed. You know, this is not something that's happening all over the country, and it's getting a bit tedious and time wasting.
Yeah, and Barry Ferguson reckons Morelos needs to rein it in, Roughie, but quite simply, everybody's looking at him and thinking, okay, if we're going to try and win this game, let's be physical, but let's go and try and annoy this lad as well.
Yeah, I think physical's the big one. I don't think he likes the physicality of it. We saw McKenna and Considine actually bully him, you know, and but all individuals are different how they react. He can't. Everybody's not a short fuse. He's a short fuse, you know, and unfortunately, these kind of guys get wound up, and it's up to the individual and the people who are in charge of him to have a word with him and say, look, this is what you're doing. These are the games you're missing. You're costing us this. You're costing us that. Actually costing his future, because if he thinks he's going to go to another club, other clubs will be looking at his record. They don't want him going down to another club and sitting on the bench as well. So he's the only one that can sort it out.
Strangely enough though, Hugh, I still stick by my opinion, which we had a discussion about it a couple of weeks ago. Clubs have got 10 million at the drop of a hat to give for Alfredo Morelos. With a disciplinary problem or not, he's got 29 goals, the boy.
Yep, I think goals is a crucial thing, and I think my biggest worry over him is not, future quality isn't a disciplinary thing, because you've always got the thought of you can maybe manage that, or maybe he just gets older and people change. The thing I think he's got to be really honed is his instinct. It sounds daft for somebody that scored high 20s, but he's not a great finisher. It sounds preposterous, but the amount of times he's through 1-on-1 and doesn't get the shot off properly or gets the save. But that's something that can be worked on as well. Yeah. I agree with you. At his age, he's already an international player. He's already played in Europe to varying degrees of success. He's scored, the best part of 30 goals in a season already. Clubs down in England, Peter, 10 million's a punt. It's 10 million's it really is just a punt money. Yeah. You're talking about now the top class player now is 100 million, isn't it? That's where the potential worldies are going. So you're going for a 10th of a worldie.
Yeah, absolutely. You can give us your thoughts on that, the decision, whether it was right not to haul Alfredo Morelos and kick Broadfoot up on a notice of complaint or not. Give us your thoughts on that. Our thoughts will turn now to Scotland in Astana for the match against Kazakhstan. We seem to have a bit of a problem in that left-back berth. Is it a major one? Should we be overly worried when we think of Kazakhstan here? Roughie keeps reminding me we shouldn't be worried about minnows like that.
Yeah, Roughie's been bang on about them, because Roughie's always telling us, don't worry about Peru, don't worry about Kubias, just give free kicks away at the edge of the box, and against that, never guard your front post. Nobody loses a goal at their front post, so yeah. I'm always calm by Roughie's predictions. I think, we look at Robertson, and obviously Tierney would slot in well if he wasn't a doubt about him. I don't think it's crucial who plays left back against Kazakhstan. I really don't. Shinnie could play Shinnie there. I really don't think it's crucial. I think what is crucial is to get 3 points. I think it's what's crucial. To be in the front foot in this game. Start well, start early. Give them no encouragement. Alan's come out with Stato Ruffle here. He's one thing that he does do is he puts in the hours on research. Yeah, he does his work, and he's come out and said they've won 2 out of 30, Alan, at home.
Well, that's what Gordon told me this morning.
Gordon, by the way, is his milkman. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Smudger actually told him at one point, or he had written it down and he just soaked it up. But I'm going to ask you guys about. Listen, never mind keeping goals out, but scoring goals could be the key as well. Let's hear from one of the strikers, Ollie McBurney, on the depth of quality he believes Alex McLeish has at his disposal.
I think we've always had that belief, and I think if you just going off the Nation League's results and that, it gives us that boost that we can perform when it comes to this level. You look at the quality throughout the squad and the players that are performing week in, week out, and the clubs that they're playing for. The quality is there. It's just about putting it all together when it comes to the international stage and making it happen on the pitch.
Yeah, I'm not so sure of the strikers that he has there. I just think he'll probably look to Oliver Burke.
Yeah, and I don't know if he should, because it all depends how you think Kazakhstan will set up. If Kazakhstan are going to be happy a point and sit back, Burke's not the player you play. If they're going to play a high line, you play Burke because he's got space to run into.
Yeah.
I think if they play deep, I would rather go with somebody like Mark McNulty that can hold the ball up and bring players in. I mean, Scotland have got decent players in this, in this team. They've got decent players going forward. They should have more than enough to beat Kazakhstan. I don't think anybody. I think that group is beyond us. I really do. I think we've got. We're fighting again by other routes. That's no means to say we should give up Kazakhstan and San Marino. That's 6 points that should be put in the bag.
Yeah, do you share that view, Roughie?
Yeah, I'd be more worried if the first 2 games were Belgium and Russia in the state that we're in, with people calling off and everything. But I don't see evidence of us going there and getting beat. I know we're talking about full-backs, but I would like to think we're good enough to play 3 at the back with 5 in midfield and 2 strikers. To let them see that we're here to win the game. So rather than worrying about which one should be up there, I would like to think that Alec has the belief that 2 strikers could play in this game and we could win the game quite easily.
Yeah, I can't offer you any real insight or gauge of their form, Kazakhstan, other than the fact that they lost to Georgia. They've had 3 draws out of the last 5 matches and had a 4-0 win against Andorra, a whipping team of world football.
Yeah, they are in many ways, even by looking at bits on YouTube and things like that, it's very difficult to gauge. I mean, one thing about the SFA and the SFA setup, they will have very good analysis and scouting done of them. I think the scouting and analysis would suggest that this is a more than winnable game for Scotland. Yeah,
and of course, looking at the whole situation, Belgium and Russia, the biggest threats.
Aye, I mean, I think both will be. Certainly, Belgium will be much too strong for its home and away. And Russia would have to be at our best to get something out of that that double header. That double header, I think, is a crucial one.
Yeah, Russia, in many forums, Hugh, you'll remember, I was crying, shouting, just take Shengelia out and we could be into the next round of, the World Cup for the first time in our history. But no, after Hansen and Willie Miller run into each other, Roughie just let Shengelia run past him. Still, there's another great memory. Roughie, have you got the answer to the quiz? I'll tell you right now, it's been a tough one looking at some of the answers coming in for that across our social media channels. So give us your thoughts on that quiz. You could win yourself one of our PLZ team T-shirts in your team's favourite colours. Good luck with that. Ruffy, you were desperate to get in there on that Shengelia memory from 1982, weren't you?
It's okay you talking about it, but you have to remember I have got to take these things into consideration when it happens. Yeah. First of all, I've had the Kubias situation with the free kick. Then I've had the Zico free kick as well. If I come out and take that guy out, I'm now a legend in my own right in World Cups if I come out and take the player out. Because you'll just remember that I was the player that got sent off against Russia. Yeah. And that had been in the history books. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. We've 5-2 against New Zealand. We've been spanked by Brazil. Big Jock's already said to him, forget about Brazil. We go into the game against Russia. It's 1-1. And somehow we, like so many Scottish teams, are the orchestrators of our own downfall, Hugh. I can still see it at this point. Yeah, but to be fair to this is terrible as well. I'm going to regret this, Pierre. Yeah. To be fair to Roughie, I don't think that was his. I don't think it had anything to do with him that night. I thought the big man was blameless that night. I've got to ask you this, and again, it's probably indicative of the way we're going. You know how you sift through Twitter and you start to look at various things, and there's always something that says, on this day, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And there was a great post this week from Dundee United. I saw the Barcelona one. If you want to join Arab Zone, you can. 1987, on this night, Dundee United were defeating Barcelona in the Nou Camp. And I just looked at it and I thought, wow, you would long for those days again, Hugh. It was great. It was great. See, somebody posted both teams as well, the Barcelona team and the Dundee United team. And seriously, there wasn't many Barcelona players you put into the Dundee United team. And people also, they had Lineker, they had Hughes, they had Munoz. And I just say, yeah, but I'll tell you one thing, Dundee United had Gallagher, they'd Sturrock, they'd Holt, Ian Ferguson. Neri, Ian Ferguson, Hegarty, Malpass. I mean, what an array of talent that was going on at that time. The array of talent is so much that people now, there's people now that people won't remember or won't talk about, like John Holt. Yeah. Like John Holt, who's an absolutely top class, technically good Scottish player, who ended up playing, of course, in a European final. But Dundee United just used to routinely batter Barcelona. It's a great way to look at it, isn't it? I think it was six wins they had against them. Yeah, Barcelona. If it wasn't Barcelona, it was Borussia Mönchengladbach. You name it, they were trouncing them all across Europe. Great days indeed for Dundee United. Anyway, talking of that, I'm wallowing in nostalgia, but sometimes we love our lists. Yep. And this is the thing that I have an issue with before we talk about a couple of games that I think have an implication on you, Roughie. France football. Now, clearly the French journalists, Roughie, have got themselves a few glasses of red wine. They've decided to have a few glasses and then pick the top 50 managers of all time. Let me show you that list, Roughie, and see if you think that is spot on. No, I don't think it's spot on at all. And obviously a lot of the younger viewers won't recognise a lot of these people. We will, that, and then you have to analyse, obviously criteria, what you've won, what you've done in the game, and what you've done it with. And we've already discussed between us that there are at least 4 or 5 that you would juggle about in that top 20.
Yeah, easily. Hugh, from your own perspective?
2, absolutely. I mean, all things are subjective. We've talked about this before. You can argue, we all sit here and argue Maradona and Messi all day long, right? And I think that's a great thing, because I think there's great arguments to be made on both sides. But there's some things there's just no arguments to be made of. Yeah. And to have Jock Stein, for example, Helenio Herrera, 27 places above Jock Stein is ludicrous. To have Brian Clough 9 places behind Pep Guardiola, when Clough has won 2 European Cups with Nottingham Forest, and Pep Guardiola has won none with Bayern Munich and Manchester City.
Yeah.
It's just daft.
Yeah.
And Arsene Wenger at that level as well, that height up, is just silly. By the way, I think you can't. Rinus Michels, you're not going to complain too much about that. Sachi, you're definitely not going to complain either.
I think they're picking them on the fact that there was a 3-year period for Ajax and there was a 3-year period for AC Milan where they were arguing over who were the greatest ever teams.
Exactly. I would say, for example, for me, the people bring Barcelona into that argument, and that's fine because it's a good subject. The best club team in my lifetime, has been AC Milan by quite a distance.
Yeah?
Yeah, they were so dominant. And I think if you look at that AC Milan team, not only did they have the best players in the world in their position, they maybe had contenders for the best players of all time in the world in their position. By that I mean Baresi, Curta, Maldini, Hullet, Rijkaard, Van Basten. They were not only were they the best players in the world in that positions at those times, but they could be the best players in the world ever in some of these. Certainly in the argument phase, I don't think you could say that about Barcelona in their pomp, bar maybe Xavi, Iniesta, and of course Messi.
Well,
you're never going to say Puyol's one of the greatest centre halves of all time.
Well, Roughie doesn't like Puyol. We can't get Puyol. We can't get him into the studio because Roughie, there's a friction there.
Yeah.
No, I got a chance, as we all do, when we watch the greatest teams ever that come on the telly, and there was a half-hour documentary about that particular team that you're talking about, and they were absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic to watch.
But I just think, I honestly do think if you're saying to the best, let's be honest to the viewer out there, if you say, pick your best world 11 of all time, do you play Baresi in the middle, 2 in the back? I think you do. Do you play Maldini at left back? Do you find a place for Hullet in midfield? And do you find a place for Van Basten up front? All very strong contenders, all from the one team at the one time. And I'm talking of all time.
We've done that already, you know that, don't you? We've done it on this show. I think I've got Maldini, Baresi and Van Basten in my all-time World 11, Roughie. Do you agree with you?
Not Van Basten.
No?
For Messi and Ronaldo.
Is it number 9?
Is it number 9? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay. You see how quickly Hugh went away from you? That's a. You know what that is? That's a tabloid journalist dismissing anything that you've got in your brain.
They're just not having it.
Exactly. Do you think Fergie deserves to be 2?
I think Fergie definitely deserves to be near the top. The crucial thing I would throw into the mix as well for top managers, and people might think I've been harsh on Guardiola, I think what you've got to do to be a top manager is to win something with a team that shouldn't win something.
Yes.
By that I mean Mourinho winning a European Cup with Porto, Clough winning a European Cup with Nottingham Forest, Stein winning the first Northern European manager to win with a Northern European team with Celtic, and Fergie for what he did at Aberdeen, not what he did at Manchester United, because in certain degrees that can be expected given their resources. But what he did at Aberdeen was just astonishing.
Okay, a couple of things to finish. Roughie, Dundee United, Ross County in your division. Dundee United, at some point, we looked at their spending spree and thought they're going to run away with it, but it hasn't quite gone according to plan.
No, and I agreed with you a couple of months ago. I thought when the transfer window came about, I thought Dundee United had made the best signings. But since then, having played Ross County a couple of times, I think Ross County are the team now, the team with the momentum. But this is last chance for Dundee United. I think they all know tonight, if they don't win this one, it's definitely playoffs for them. So it's a massive game, and I'm sure there'll be at least 7,000 or 8,000 in that game tonight.
Yeah, it is. It's 11 points of a difference here.
Yeah, I can be a bit smart alecky here because I watched Ross County at Ayr United in December, and it was a great game. It's 3 each. And I came off that game. I think I even said in this programme, I said, I think I've seen the championship winners. They drew 3 each. They're the better team. I mean, Ayr played very, very well. But I just looked through the Ross County team, and I thought, that's a right strong team for the championship. A lot of Premiership players in it. Good setup, strong. I just think, I think they're winning around.
Okay, it's been one of those subjective programmes today. You always find that when you get to an international week. It's a strange thing that. We'll continue the countdown to Kazakhstan against Scotland. There'll be more and more team news emerging from Alex McLeish when he eventually gets closer to the starting 11 of what we hope will be a victory for Scotland. Thanks to Roughie and to Hugh McDonald. And thanks to you for watching us on the programme.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.